Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Chandra Ballabha Girivardhari Gopi Chandra Ballabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, 9th Canto, Chapter 1, starting verses 34 through 39. The chapter is called King Sudyumna Becomes a Woman. And we'll chant the Sanskrit for verse 34. Yeah. Atatam Ashramabhyashe Charanting Pramadotaman Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakame Bhagavan Buddha Atatam Ashravam Vyase Charanting Pramadotaman Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakame Bhagavan Buddha Tatam Ashrama Vyashe Charanting Pramadotaman Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakame Bhagavan Buddha Tatam Ashravam Vyase Tarantim Pramadotamam Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakame Bhagavan Buddha Tatam Ashravam Vyase Charantim Pramadotamam Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakamye Bhagavan Buddha Tatam Ashravam Vyase Charantim Pramadotamam Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakame Bhagavan Buddha. Anyone else? Tatam Ashravam Vyase Charantim Pramadotamam Sribhi Parivritang Vriksha Chakame Bhagavan Buddha. Word for word. Hata, in this way, tam, her, ashram abhyashe, in the neighborhood of the ashram, charantim, loitering, pramada uttaman, the best of beautiful women who excite sex. Sribhi, by other women. Parivritam, surrounded. Vriksha, seeing her. Chakame, desired sex. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Buddha, the son of the moon and predominating deity of the planet known as Buddha or Mercury. Translation. Sudyumna had been transformed into the best of beautiful women who excite sexual desire and was surrounded by other women. Upon seeing this beautiful woman loitering near his ashram, Buddha, the son of the moon, immediately desired to enjoy her.
Sudyumna превратился в женщину, обладающую несравненной красотой и способную пробуждать сладострастие. Она блуждала по лесу от другой других женщин, и вскоре оказалась близ ашрама Будды, сына бога Луны, который, заметив красавицу, тут же возгорелся желанием насладиться.
Okay, so there's no purport on that verse. We'll read the next one. The beautiful woman also desired to accept Buddha, the son of the king of the moon, as her husband. Thus Buddha begot in her womb a son named Pururava.
Красавица ответила ему взаимностью, пожелала принять отпрыска правителя Луны своим мужем. Когда Будда зачал его сына,
Verse 36, I heard from reliable sources that King Sudyumna, the son of Manu, having thus achieved femininity, remembered his familial spiritual master, Vasishta.
Я слышал от следующих людей, что царь Судьюмна, сын Мана, превратившийся в женщину, вспомнил о котором учителе своего рода Vasishta.
Verse 37, upon seeing Sudyumna's deplorable condition, Vasishta was very much aggrieved. Desiring for Sudyumna to regain his maleness, Vasishta again began to worship Lord Shankara, Shiva.
Увидев Судьюмну в столь плачевном состоянии, Vasishta преисполнился печали. Он пожелал вернуться ревностью его мужской области, потому начал поклоняться Шанкаре.
And then verse 38 and 39 together. O King Parikshit, Lord Shiva was pleased with Vasishta. Therefore, to satisfy him and to keep his own word to Parvati, Lord Shiva said to that saintly person, your disciple Sudyumna may remain a male for 1 month and a female for the next. In this way he may rule the world as he likes.
Царь Парикшит, Господь Шива остался доволен Vasishтой. Желая удовлетворить его и в то же время сдержать слово, которое дал Парвати, Господь Шива сказал святому, твой ученик Судьюмна 1 месяц будет мужчиной, а следующий месяц женщиной. Таким образом он сможет править миром.
Srila Prabhupada's purport. The word Gotraja is significant in this connection.
Здесь особенно важно слово Gotraja.
And it's, word for word, Gotraja means disciple born in your disciplic succession.
Gotraja означает ученик, рожденный в
So, the purport. Brahmanas generally act as spiritual masters of 2 dynasties.
Браманы обычно становятся духовными учителями
Okay, that's I don't know. That's the second sentence. One is their disciplic succession, and the other is the dynasty born of their semen.
Браманы обычно становятся благородными учителями не только тех, кто находится в них, кто находится в прибежище, как вот представители Парампары, но и тех, кто связан с ними кровным родством.
Both descendants belong to the same Gotra or dynasty.
И те, и другие ученики принадлежат к одной роду или династии.
In the Vedic system, we sometimes find that both Brahmanas and Kshatriyas and even Vaishyas come in the disciplic succession of the same rishis.
В истории ведического общества есть случаи, когда Брахманы, Кшатрии и даже Вайши принадлежали к Готре от рода Виши.
Because the Gotra and dynasty are one, there is no difference between the disciples and the family born of the semen.
Поскольку Готра и династия одно и то же, нет разницы между учениками и членами семьи, которые связаны кровным узами.
The same system still prevails in Indian society, especially in regard to marriage, for which the Gotra is calculated.
Такой порядок сохранился в Индии по сей день, особенно в случае заключения брака, когда принимаются во внимание принадлежность к определенной Готре.
Here the word Gotraja refers to those born in the same dynasty, whether they be disciples or members of the family.
Здесь слово Готраджа относится к членам одного рода, ученикам одной
Om Jnana Timirandasha Gnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So, I'm not super familiar with the Gotra system, but I do remember once I was in India, and we visited some temple, and I don't remember what we were there for. It was not an ISKCON temple. It was one of the older traditional temples. Oh. But we were, but the priest there they were giving blessings or something, and they asked everyone there. They would ask, "What is your Gotra?" So most of us who were visiting there, including myself, definitely came from a whole different culture. So to talk about the family line, wouldn't make any sense to say what our Gotra was. No. In India, you can talk about your lineage. I'm the son of so and so, who was the son of so and so, was the son. There's a certain line, but that wouldn't have made sense for us coming from, in that case, from America, and saying what our Gotra was. We wouldn't be able to explain that there. So what we were told by one Indian-born devotee who was guiding us, he says, so for us, you say, what is your Gotra? We say Vaishnav Gotra. Because there are two kinds of lines. There's you may have in India you could very easily have your family priest, right? Family priest who's been guiding you and so many people in your family for so long. You're the family priest. That's one line of succession.
семейных построений,
And then you have your someone who's actually who's not been born as a part of the family, but they become initiated, just like we accept initiation from Srila Prabhupada or from the disciple of Srila Prabhupada or like that. We have that's our line of succession. And in the very beginning of this chapter, when they mentioned the great Saint Vasishta, that he was referred to as the great grandfather. So in that particular family, he was teaching, he was guiding, but he was also in the seminal from family, actual family members. He was also the head. So of course, sometimes the Srila Prabhupada points out that sometimes the traditional family priest might not give us the highest knowledge. They might not. I can't say that they will or not because it's individual. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada points out that if we want spiritual life, we need to find and accept a guru who will teach us the science of Krishna. And so, of course, that's what Srila Prabhupada taught us, and what he facilitated by establishing ISKCON. So it's the spiritual master in the Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession, that is who can ultimately guide us to help us to become Krishna conscious devotees. And of course, Srila Prabhupada what he taught us was only related to Krishna service. Only related to Krishna service. He did not teach us, Srila Prabhupada did not teach us the traditional India way of worshipping demigods. Many people worship the demigods, perform different karmakanda activities. He did not teach us that. He told us about them, but he did not teach us to do them. If we look at the books that Srila Prabhupada gave us, they're all related to Krishna's devotional service. We have Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Srila Prabhupada, he told this story. Actually, he wrote this in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita.
Прабхупада, он рассказывал историю, где она так упоминается
when he was writing that, or had written it, perhaps, one lady asked him why do you give another translation and commentary of Bhagavad Gita when there were, at that time there were maybe 600 in English. At that time there were about 600 different translations of So Srila Prabhupada said there were so many translations, but hardly one of them gave the actual essence of of what Krishna taught. Hardly one actually gave that real information. So Srila Prabhupada said, and Srila Prabhupada pointed out that hardly anyone had become a devotee of Krishna from all these other translations and commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, because the Lord Krishna's actual words and the meaning of those words was not properly presented. And then, so that's Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada gave us, and of course, Srimad-bhagavatam, which was primarily Srila Prabhupada's life work. That also is teaching only devotional service. Because, but first of all, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna presented to Arjuna many different paths. The yoga system, you mentioned the karma kanya activities, the demigod worship. He mentions all of these. But in the end, Krishna's almost one of the last few verses, the famous verse, Sarva dharmang parityaja mamikang sharanang raja aham tvam sarva papabhyo mokshaya shamimastikaha. Give up all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. So varieties of religion means that anything in the Vedic knowledge, any activity is considered to be religious. The demigod worship, all the karma kanya activities, they're considered religious because they're part of the Vedas. Karma kanya, which is included in demigod worship. So Krishna at the end, he says, just give up all those other religious activities, materially religious activities, give up all that and just surrender to me. It means engage in my devotional service. And then Srimad-bhagavatam, the very first verse, or second verse, second verse, Dharma projita kaita vota paramo numatsaranam satam vediam vasadam. That verse. He says, first, right in the beginning, it says the Srimad-bhagavatam kicks out all religious activities that are materially motivated.
Но Srimad-bhagavatam в самом начале, там, стих, он сразу говорит о том, что отпустим все религии.
So where Bhagavad Gita ends, which means after all these other activities, finally conclusion is you start with devotional service. And then Srimad-bhagavatam, from the very beginning, says already immediately rejecting all these other materially motivated religious activities, so it kicks that out, and the conclusion of Srimad-bhagavatam is, of course, is to develop love for Krishna, pure love of Krishna. And then, of course, there's wonderful books like you read every morning, the Nectar of Devotion that Srila Prabhupada gave us. Nectar of Devotion is it's such a wonderful book. And it has 51 or 52 chapters in it. You remember, 51 or 52, I forget. And the very, very, very beginning of it is, of course, is about devotional service, characteristics of pure devotional service. And if you go chapter by chapter, chapter 19, it builds up to chapter 19, which is pure love of Krishna, as the conclusion of this pure love of Krishna. But the other chapters 20 to about 51, I think there's 51 chapters. So 20 and so 51 is all about something that the devotees who are even on the level of pure love of Krishna can very much relish. Of Krishna's activities, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes. This is a very, very advanced book. So Srila Prabhupada, this was Srila Prabhupada's, insight. Because he knew that no matter what stage of devotional service we're at, from the very, very, very beginning to the highest perfection that we may come to in pure devotional service, the books he gave us include knowledge for all of us, all the way through. Sometimes devotees in other groups have criticized that Srila Prabhupada maybe he didn't give us so much information don't know where they get this from, but the idea was that maybe he didn't give us so much information about spontaneous love of Krishna and these kind of things. And he just talked about basic regulative principles and sadhana, vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Sometimes those points were made.
Иногда какие-то другие группы требования критикуют, что вкладывал возвышенное знание спонтанное
but even though such statements were made about Srila Prabhupada, it's not a fact. Srila Prabhupada gave us everything. He gave us everything we need to become Krishna conscious, and everything we would ever want upon being completely Krishna conscious.
Но факт в том, что Прабхупада нам дал все, что нам необходимо для того, чтобы достичь совершенства.
But of course, Srila Prabhupada understood for the vast majority of us who come from basically sinful backgrounds, he understood our position, so he emphasized a lot the chant those rounds, 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, like that.
Прабхупада, конечно, понимал, кому он дает знания, и что большинство западных людей их состояние понимал. И поэтому очень часто подчеркивал
So he taught us these basic principles with the understanding and the faith and the knowledge. He taught us these things that if we followed them, then we would get purified, and we would gradually come to these higher platforms that are described in Nectar Devotion and Srimad-bhagavatam, certain points.
Прабхупада, он учил нас таким основополагающим базовым принципам, и постепенно, следуя им, постепенно сможем развиваться, чтобы дойти до самого высокого уровня.
And of course, Srila Prabhupada, not only did he give us knowledge in the form of the books, but he gave us the devotional activities. He gave us deity worship. He gave us kirtans, chanting the holy names.
Srila Prabhupada дал нам книги свои, поклонение божествам, преданное служение, киртаны, святые имена.
Srila Prabhupada understood very well how to engage his disciples, and at that time of disciples, and activities that were favorable for each individual's progressing in devotional service.
Шрила Прабхупада понимал нас, тех своих учеников, и поэтому он дал благоприятные виды деятельности, чтобы достичь прогресса.
Just like Srila Prabhupada inspired and encouraged his certain devotees, Western devotees especially, well, of course, Eastern devotees too, in India, but to work very hard in building and establish big temples, big projects, everything very big for the purpose of attracting people to become Krishna conscious.
Шрила Прабхупада вдохновлял своих последователей на совершение больших событий, постройку больших храмов, для того, чтобы совершить события, привлекать людей.
He taught us the importance of chanting the holy names, but he did not say, okay, you chant, everyone must chant 64 rounds a day or 128 rounds a day and concentrate on that to become Krishna conscious. He knew that was not possible for most. Anyway, these are a few points. How we are following in the spiritual line of discipleship as is established by Srila Prabhupada. Are there any questions, comments? Okay, then I guess we'll end for today. Tomorrow, again, we'll have Srimad-bhagavatam. Tomorrow's Thursday, yes. And then Friday, on Fridays we read from the Srila Prabhupada Nectar book. And Saturday we'll have our next session of the Vaishnava etiquette course. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.